G'day everyone. In this short video, I just want to give you a bit of an overview about the importance of ideas and opportunities in the entrepreneurial context. Certainly, when people think about the notion of entrepreneurship, when they think about entrepreneurial behaviour, one of the key characteristics that we see as being an important part of entrepreneurship is this ability for entrepreneurs to come up with new ideas, to identify opportunities that they might be able to take advantage of in the marketplace, and to do this quicker and faster than any other organisation is able to do so. So really at the heart of entrepreneurial activities is this concept around ideas and opportunity. So really the central element of entrepreneurial behaviour is the search for new ideas and opportunities. We're constantly looking around us, whether it's inside our organisation, whether it's outside of our organisation, whether it's in an informal way or whether it's in a formal process, using some of the sort of idea generation processes that we'll talk about during the workshop. The idea is that we're looking around for different ideas all the time, and entrepreneurs are constantly seeking to challenge our existing assumptions and ideas and to put forward new ideas or new solutions to problems that might create new markets or new opportunities for the organisation. And so really when we think about what an entrepreneur does, a lot of the entrepreneur's time is really dedicated to a process of generating ideas and assessing what might be viable opportunities for the organisation. Now, what is important to recognise is that ideas and opportunities are related, but they're not exactly the same thing. And if you have a look at the reading by Applegate and Carlson for 2014 that's on the Milo site for you, you'll see that they provide a very neat summary of the relationship between these two concepts and what they actually mean to each other. And really when we talk about entrepreneurship, we're interested in this notion of opportunities. And an opportunity is an idea that, if realised, would provide significant added value to the company. Okay, so it's something that we're able to do that will create new value in a way that the organisation has not been able to do previously. And that value would be in value for us as the organisation, whether it's increased profitability, greater market share, and also value for the customer in terms of solving their problems in a more effective way. Now, it's important to remember that not all ideas or not all good ideas are necessarily going to be opportunities. We can't always commercialise the ideas that we come up with. So it's really important as an organisation that we're constantly generating a stream of new ideas that we might be able to apply into an entrepreneurial context. So one of the challenges that we really face in entrepreneurship is, where do these ideas come from and how do we assess if these ideas are any good? So in terms of where ideas might come from, I've provided a few slides here about some of the different sources that entrepreneurs might turn to when they're trying to identify new ideas. And in terms of how we assess whether an idea is a good or a bad idea, in week 4 we'll look at the process by which we go about opportunity assessment and determining whether an opportunity really fits with the wishes and actions of our organisation. And again, just to reiterate the importance of ideas or the centrality of ideas, we can see from this figure here, which really summarises for us the entrepreneurial process, that when entrepreneurs engage in the entrepreneurial process, what they're really doing is trying to identify opportunities, okay, so look at ideas that represent new value, to identify the resources they have available to them or that they can gain access to, that they can apply to this opportunity and take advantage of the opportunity, and putting together the team of people that are going to work with them, both inside the organisation and outside the organisation, to take advantage of these opportunities. And so ideas and opportunities really, again, are a central part of the entrepreneurial process. And when we're engaged in a process of generating ideas and opportunities, we really need to think about an opportunity assessment plan. Now, I'm going to talk more about this sort of opportunity assessment plan and the process by which we might identify opportunities in subsequent weeks, particularly in week 4. But I thought it was important here just to summarise for you some of the key elements that make up an opportunity assessment plan. So an opportunity assessment plan really is designed to assess the market potential and profitability of any new idea. Okay, so whenever we come up with a new idea, we need to put it through this planning process to identify whether it is actually viable for the organisation. So does it meet the criteria of being an opportunity? So the first thing we need to think about, or the first part of the opportunity assessment plan, really identifies the opportunity or idea in terms of its uniqueness. Okay, so does it represent something different, something that's not currently done within the marketplace and that would give us an advantage over other organisations? Are there competitive products in the market that provide similar type of value and that would be competitive threats for our organisation? And are there other companies that are already in this space? So really what we're trying to do here is sort of map out how new, how novel, how different this idea might actually be, and whether it really generates for us a viable market opportunity. In the second section, we then need to get down to the tin tacks of the market itself. So any opportunity from a business perspective is about the customer, and it's about thinking about what new customer segments we might open up, or how we might satisfy our existing customer segments more effectively. So when we go through this process, what we're doing is we're looking at the size of the market, we're looking at the trends in the marketplace, we're looking at the characteristics of the particular market in which we're looking to sell this product, and what its potential growth rate might look like. Moving on from this, in the third section of the plan, we look at our own internal skills and abilities. So really this is an assessment of the resources that we have available to us and whether these resources match the opportunity that we're presented with. And in the final section, what we do is outline all the steps that we might take in terms of taking this idea to market. So all the things we have to do to launch this idea. So again, this plan really helps us to focus our thinking in terms of evaluating what the opportunities might be. And in week 4, I'll go through this plan in a little bit more detail. And again, when we think about innovation, when we think about entrepreneurial activity, we can see that ideas are really at the centre of this process. And the first 2 stages of the innovation process are really about the search for ideas and opportunities, so trying to identify where the market might be, and then actually selecting, trying to decide which of all the different opportunities we might be able to take advantage of are most suitable for our organisation. So one of the key issues that we face in identifying new ideas and opportunities that the organisation might take advantage of is really down to the different information sources that we have available to us. So where are we going to get the new ideas, the new concepts that might be useful for our organisation? So to effectively identify new ideas and opportunities, it's really critical that the entrepreneur is attuned to the forces that are shaping our operating environment, that we regularly engage in some sort of environmental scanning activity to determine what challenges face the organisation and what opportunities we might be able to take advantage of. And we really need to ensure that we get information from multiple sources. Okay, it's not enough just to rely on internal sources. We need to use a mix of internal and external sources, and also a mix of formal and informal sources to identify what the opportunities might be. And really we need to appreciate that idea generation and opportunity assessment is actually a group-based activity. We tend to see in the entrepreneurship literature, certainly the more journalistic entrepreneurship literature, a sort of discussion that entrepreneurial activity is down to the individual. But really this process of generating ideas is done through a group of people within an organisational context. And when we think about information and we think about ideas, it's really important to understand the importance of sometimes saying no. Okay, not saying no. We need to avoid discrediting ideas early on in the process, because if we do that, we might miss an actual true opportunity in the future. So we have to be open to very different perspectives within our organisation. So in terms of information sources, we really need to use a mix of internal and external sources. So internal sources are sources within our organisation, whether they're our ideas as the individual entrepreneur or the ideas of the team of people that we have working for us within our organisation at any one point in time. And these ideas might just bob up. They might be something that comes to someone one morning while they're catching the bus to work. So it's sort of more organic or informal approach to idea generation. Or they might come through a formal process of idea generation. And I've listed here for you 5 examples of idea generation processes that might be used by an organisation. Now, this is not an exhaustive list. There's lots of different models out there, but it's really just to give you a sort of sample of some of the different approaches that are available to an organisation. So we might use processes like brainstorming. So brainstorming is sitting down, focusing on an idea, coming up with all the different concepts that you can that relate to that idea, and then discussing what those ideas might look like. Some of the more formal methodologies we might use include things like lateral thinking and six-hat thinking, and I've put some links on the Milo site for this week 2 folder for you to have a look at, and if you want to go and have a look at those links, it'll tell you a little bit about those different approaches. Or we might use the sort of blue sky or daydreaming approach, where we sort of pontificate about what some indeterminate future might look like if we were able to reset all of the opportunities available to the organisation. So really these processes say to us that we need sometimes as an organisation to have a formalised process by which we generate new ideas. And by working through that process, we're likely to come up with a range of different ideas that are of use to the organisation. We also need to think about external sources of information, and there are many different sources available to any business or any individual when they're trying to get started. If you think about things like the business press, for example, the Financial Review, the Economist magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, provides you a bit of a background or understanding about what's happening in the market at any one point in time. There are formal assistance bodies, so things like trade associations provide people with information about what's happening within their sector or industry at any one point in time. So if you think about the agricultural industry, for example, you have groups like the Tasmanian Farmers Association, you have formal government organisations like ABARE or the Australian Bureau of Agricultural Resource Economics, who are there to provide people with information about what is happening in their industry, what's happening in that sector, and how we might use those. So again, as an entrepreneur, you need to really be thinking about all the different external sources that might be available to you. Again, other sources, the government provides many reports and bits of information that can be useful to organisations. Again, governments really have a role to play in actually helping us to gain access to information so that we can set new ideas and opportunities up for our organisations. We might look at our competitors, often scanning what the competition is doing and understanding what the competitors are doing is a really critical part of understanding what new opportunities might be available to our organisation. Now, whether we get our information from internal or external sources, there's a couple of key concepts that we really need to think about when we're trying to understand information. The first is the notion of big data. Today we live in a world which is data rich. We're constantly generating data points about our behaviours, and as businesses we can analyse that data to provide a bit of an understanding of what a consumer is doing at any one point in time. So people shouldn't struggle to come up with data points or information related to their opportunities that they're trying to develop. We also need to think about the concept of deep data, and really this is delving deep into the data, not just looking at the top line of what things are saying, but trying to get a richer picture about individual consumers and what are driving their consumer behaviour. So again, when we're looking for ideas and opportunities, we should be thinking about big data and deep data and how it might shape that opportunity analysis. So the point of this little video is just to get you started and thinking about some of the data sources. I've put onto Milo for you a few readings that you should have a look at that would really help you understand the concept of data and information. So the first one is the reading by Appleton and Carlson from 2014. What I like about this article is it does give you a really good understanding about the relationship between the concept of an idea and an opportunity, and what role the entrepreneur takes in taking an idea and turning it into a market opportunity. The second article is one by Short et al. From 2010. This looks at the concept of opportunity and how it's been operationalised or thought of in entrepreneurship research. And this is really important because we need to think about what the literature is telling us about the process and idea of opportunity identification. And the final reading that you should look at is the reading by Davidson from 2015, which looks at the nexus between opportunities and entrepreneurial activities. So how do entrepreneurs take advantage of opportunities? These three readings can be accessed from the Week 2 folder on Milo, so it's really critical that you access these and read them. We will be talking about them in the subsequent workshops.